Get out of your mind, do the opposite. I don't like to stay there. Imagine what your life will look like in 5 years. Hey there, my friend, it's Dave Wood. I'm talking to you in front of my swimming pool here in Escazú, Costa Rica. Today I'm going to talk about how to be a highly effective marketer. I'm going to give you 6 principles, and these are some of the principles that you can use to take your marketing, to transform it, to make it better, to make it more profitable, and to, more importantly, make you more effective with everything that you're doing online. Now, here's what I've noticed. After a while, it's easy to see a difference between people who make a lot of money and people who remain broke or remain struggling. Understanding the differences and the patterns of highly effective people, it's an essential early step in getting what you want to get out of your business this year. Now, understanding this is going to be a precursor for the actions you take. The principles that you understand are going to be the foundation for how you're going to build your strategies, which are going to turn into your daily action. And action is what comes before results. Action is the precursor of results. So let me say that again. Understanding principle is going to be the precursor of proper action, and taking proper action is going to be the precursor of getting the results that you want. Now, the right understanding of these principles is what's going to create the right beliefs about how you need to attack your marketing, which create the right actions that also are going to lead you down the path you want to go towards the outcomes that you want in your business, which is why gaining the right understanding and continuing to pay attention is a lot more important than reading about traffic generation techniques, because the reality is that somebody who understands the principles is probably just paying attention to Google updates or Facebook updates, and they're just inventing those techniques, or they're testing different ideas and then they're telling you the ones that they're doing that are working, or they're just making them up. See, there's a reason why blog posts and videos about traffic and specific actions, a lot of times they can get a lot more comments and views in the marketing space than a blog post or video that's talking about personal development, or that's talking about transformation, or that's teaching you about principles. And that's because people want to skip right to the actions. They want to skip right to a specific kind of a tactic that'll create the results that they want, because they think that it's the specific tactics that's going to get them those results, even though those tactics, they literally change all the time. And so usually by the time somebody learns the perfect strategy, the strategy that they need to be using has changed, because internet technology changes faster than people change their strategies. However, action without the right understanding, without the right principles, rarely is going to produce the outcome that are positive, in the sense that it's making you money for a long period of time and is continuing to stay profitable like you want it to be. Now, that being said, there are 6 habits of highly effective marketers that I'm going to go over today, and these are principles that you can take and you can use to look at the market in a new way. And I'll show you, even as I'm talking, how I take these ideas and I implement them in my own business. And this is going to help you create your own strategy. Now, effective marketers look at failure not as discouragement, not as losing. They look at it as feedback. This is something I'm talking about people all the time. This is how children are. Children don't fall down and think they failed when they're trying to learn to walk. They fall down and try it a new way. Have you ever tried something and have you gotten kind of angry when it didn't pan out how you thought it would? All of us have done something like that, and usually we'll get angry even if we're a child. The point is, a child will get back up. I get a little ticked off sometimes too. In fact, I've had to learn over the years how to get rid of anger that I think I inherited from my family, and I've become a lot more peaceful over the years. But what matters is not whether you get angry, it's what you actually do after that, and how you're going to deal with challenges, and are you going to adjust your strategy. You could say, for example, Thomas Edison, he failed. He tried to make light bulbs thousands of times. Or you could say that he successfully discovered what didn't work 1,000 times in order to create something successfully the 1,001st time. It wasn't actually 1,000, it was a lot more than that, but that's an example. He went out there inventing for thousands of attempts, failing, and then had a successful attempt, and most people would have quit at attempt 2 and thought, oh, it's not possible. But he just continued going because he knew it's possible. Highly effective marketers look at failure as feedback, as a test that didn't work, which is radically different than just stop it because you don't think you can do it. The failure will implode on itself because it never will get to the destination that it could have gotten to if it had just continued to fail even more often. See, effective marketers, they accept responsibility for the results that they get, and they take it like the market is not responding to that, so I'm going to change it. What can I try? And what are other people doing that is working? And what can I test that is going to work? And they just make it work a little bit better all the time. One thing that's really easy to notice about people that don't succeed is that they make excuses about everything that doesn't work for them, and they just continue to reinforce those excuses as reasons why they can't. Whereas effective marketers, they take a look at when things don't work, they accept responsibility for the results that they do get, and then they use that data as incoming feedback to change their strategy and therefore change their results. They don't spew out a million excuses when asked about the results or their lack of results. They might say, well, it happened because of this, and I learned this, and therefore I changed this, and this is what I'm doing now. See, they're not blaming another person, even though they might acknowledge that there's something in the way of them getting their results that they need to learn to get around. They take responsibility. They seek to acquire understanding that will create the results that they want. And then they take further action, and they continue to alter it along the path. Effective marketers, effective human beings know when it's time to adjust their strategies, which is when they've tried something enough times to where they know that if they change it, they have an opportunity to get better results, and that thing that they're trying isn't working as optimally as it could, or it is working, but they want to see if something can work even better. You don't want to stay stuck in success, just like you don't want to stay stuck in failure. Knowing when to adjust what you're doing can be a tough thing, but it's one of the only ways to shortcut your success. Fail twice as much, fail 5 times as much, and change the word, and then don't fail. Go out there and test things, right? One of the conversations I have a lot with all of our team, somebody comes up with an idea and we say, let's test it. And when we test it, we know that that test might not work. But when it doesn't work, it's not a failure, it's something that adds to our knowledge base that helps us test more things that work better. See, sometimes people do the wrong things for too long, and if you've been trying to make money online for several years, it's probably not the business that's wrong. It could be part of it, but it's probably something that you're doing with your marketing, or you're making assumptions that have no reflection in reality. With the right mindset, it's virtually impossible not to succeed eventually. It depends how big the success that you want on what you should actually do as your action steps to get there, and how accurately you adjust what you're doing from the feedback you're getting, and the energy you're inputting into your business is actually going to control how quickly and how big it's going to happen for you. It's like trying to crack a safe. If you know what you're doing, you're going to eventually get there if you have enough time and the right equipment. But precisely adjusting the lock is what's going to get you in faster, and that's going to come from testing and experimentation and years of experience. Effective marketers, they know when to adjust their strategy. They set a goal, they set an outcome in the future, they make a plan and commit to it for a period of time, and when it doesn't work the way they want, they just adjust the strategy and maintain their heart and mind on the prize. At set intervals, they look at their progress, they decide if they need to tweak what they're doing just a little bit, and then they tweak it and test something new. This is one of the hardest things to master, because you have to get over yourself, knowing when to tweak what you're doing, when should that actually be? You should actually be doing it always. See, the only way to get better is through experience, trial, error, success. People say trial and error, but it really should be trial, error, and success. And you want to regularly review your progress and regularly review your numbers and continue to adjust them along the way. Highly effective marketers get leverage when something's working in the right way. One thing I notice about people who get results quickly, they use leverage to make themselves take the right action. Others sit there, they sit their fat asses down on the couch with a pack of Doritos, cigarettes, maybe a can of beer, they flip to the channels, and they enjoy having the fat ass. Now, as the television commercials start, they say things like, yeah, I should probably stop being lazy and change. But see, change can be complex if people are thinking about it, but it's simple to actually do. Everyone wants to change on a surface level when they look at something that's succeeding more than them, but it's the people that have the desire to just be better all the time that truly change. See, most of the time people want bigger. They want better things for themselves, for their families, their kids, their wives, their husbands. Sometimes people want to quit destructive habits, for example, like smoking, like doing drugs. They want to quit being lazy with their life. Yet for some reason, a lot of times they struggle with great effort to break out, and it's because they don't really decide to just change it. See, one of the best ways to make yourself change is to get leverage from the people around you by declaring your goals to the world. Here's a little exercise on leverage from Tony Robbins. Just imagine for a second, what will your life look like in 5 years if you don't change now? If you continue down the path that you're taking, what will your life look in 10 years if you don't change what you're doing to adjust towards what you want right now? What will your life look like in 20 years if you don't change now? Now imagine that imprinted onto the world, imagine the outcomes, and feel the feelings of not being where you want now. Get out of your mind, do the opposite. I don't like to stay there. Imagine what your life will look like in 5 years if you decide to continuously change, beginning right now. Kind of compelling, isn't it? See, a lot of times, people don't really understand what change is. To create lasting change, the change has to become a must, and it has to be constant, because change, like its own self, is fluid and happens all the time, whether you're controlling it or not. And the question is not whether it's happening. The question is not are you changing? The question is are you directing the outcome of the change that you're making now? Or are you letting the world change you? See, everyone develops their own unconscious patterns for moving towards pleasure, moving away from pain. But the formula is relatively simple, and you need to change sometimes what you see as painful in your mind. Link massive pain to a current level of lack of action that you're taking in your business and life. Attach the pain to your current situation. Link massive pleasure to your desired behavior, outcome, and where you're going in the future. You want to link pleasure to changing in the way that you want. See, highly effective marketers are obsessed with the outcomes that they're creating and their business that fits into those outcomes and making it work the way that they want. I'm convinced that what a lot of people would call obsession, even as a disorder, is just people who really like doing something that they're happier if they actually do. Because obsession can create genius, it can create unique knowledge, and genius can create obsession. I just had something fall from a tree. Yet I continue to make the video as you continue to watch, because I'm not sure which that is. See, highly talented people, they're rarely born that way. The talent is usually cultivated, or perhaps talent is God-given at times. But throughout history, it's clear that many alleged geniuses were just obsessed with their work, and they developed a unique set of skill over a set period of time. I've talked about that. Inventors are obsessed with their ideas all the time. It's the obsession that eventually leads them to creating the things that are impossible to others, yet for them they know all the time in their heart and mind are going to happen now. Highly effective marketers are often obsessed with their business and making it work in the right way, as are all entrepreneurs. It is different than having a normal job where you just show up and never think about it. It's something that you've got to be passionate at, because the entrepreneurs who do great things don't think about their work for a few hours a day like their 9-to-5 counterparts, because their day and their night are a part of a continuous vision that runs through time like a river from the center of the universe. They don't leave the work at the office necessarily. They think about their work all the time because it's a part of things that weave into their daily experience. And they might even think about it all night. They might even dream as they go into the night and wake up with new ideas. If you read about the great minds and inventors that have changed histories, it's that obsessive passion that leads to breakthrough ideas. I think actually the word passion is a better word for what many people call obsession. Obsession is only bad when it's aimed at something negative. However, when it's aimed at something you're involved with intimately in creating, it's actually a different word, and that's the word passion. So change your obsession with TV into passion for your future. You know how Einstein discovered the theory of relativity? This is interesting. He sat down, he visualized what the world would look like if he was a beam of light traveling across the universe. He did things like take a mirror out and try to look at himself in the mirror at the speed of light and said, "Can I do this?" for over a decade, thinking about the possibilities and probabilities of things working in different ways. Now that's kind of a strange thing to obsess over for most people. Now I'm a pretty weird guy, but that's like another level of different, because I'm not a physicist and that's not my line of life. But that is the kind of mind that you have. You You take what you're creating and you think about it in every imaginable way. You take it apart and you put it back together. It was obsession that led to his discovery. As with many other great discoveries and breakthroughs, he had to know how that worked. When you become obsessed with a single vision, with a single business, you unlock unconscious resources you wouldn't otherwise have access to, because all of your resources now become aimed in a certain direction. Things become easier. Ideas flow more freely. And highly effective marketers also take that and then they put positivity, they put faith, they put their beliefs, and they believe positive things about other people. Beliefs that you have are going to control how you perceive the world around you. Same with me. A common problem people have is negative beliefs about other people. And it's what stops a lot of smart people from making a lot of money in network marketing. And lack of belief in other people comes from lack of belief in yourself. You're not actually disbelieving in the other people, you're disbelieving in yourself. When somebody always is distrustful of other people, it's because they don't trust themselves. When people always think other people are full of hate, it's because they're full of hate themselves. When people always think somebody's going to do something wrong, it's because they're going to do something wrong themselves. And people who trust people is because, generally, they're trustworthy and they trust themselves. Do you see how the universe connects to whatever you are inside? Because it's because we run into problems when we have internal conflicts that we need to learn how to have strategies that get around those conflicts. This is normally when there could be a clash between our beliefs and our values. And let me explain the difference. A belief is maybe a truth you hold about the world in your mind, without getting into a lot of detail. A value is the order and sequence of what you find important in your unconscious mind. So for example, your values might say, I need to help people. Maybe your values are telling you need to help the poor. However, simultaneously, you hold the belief that it's too difficult for people to make money in the business. So you have a belief about your business that's preventing you from helping people. You're not going to recruit anyone, and therefore you can't help anyone. And therefore you go out and you do things like give everything for free without ever selling, because you believe that giving those things for free and not ever selling is going to help you, but in reality it's just making you poor, and all the people who do what you teach them poor as well. See, there's a conflict. You want to help people, you want to transform them, but you hold the belief that selling them into your business, selling them your products is not going to help them. Well, you could just find out what they want and what resources they have and just sell them that. There's a couple of beliefs about people most effective marketers and business people share, especially people that prosper for a long time. People do and can do and do the best they can with the resources they've got available in their lives. Now, resources come in the form of time, energy, money, right? Beliefs, skills, knowledge, right? Therefore, if you want people to do better, give them more resources. All people have the same ability to create what they want that you do in different modalities, because people are different. See, there's no such thing for failure as failure for them either. There's only feedback for them. Now, this is a quite common thing in network marketing for some people to believe that it's too difficult for the average person to make money. It's too hard for them, and the reason is because they're again projecting themselves. Because it's hard for them, they think it's going to be hard for everybody. And they're not willing to let people go through the struggle that they need to go through, like a butterfly trying to escape from the cocoon. You break it out because your heart is compassionate, because you hear the struggling. But then as you break it out, it falls to the ground and dies because you didn't allow it to go through the struggle it needed to build the strength in its wing. See, really the opposite is true. If you sponsor 100 people, you might only have a few of them make tons of money. Seeing this, you might develop the belief that it's too difficult, and with a value system that says you got to help people, maybe you'll either do one of two things. Maybe you'll quit, or maybe you'll, instead of doing that, sabotage your ability to recruit and only try to recruit the few that succeed. However, after asking each person why they didn't make any money, you usually have another belief change. For example, 50 of the people didn't do anything at all, and they actually didn't even want to, they just wanted to learn. Maybe 20 of them took action for a week, and then they decided to do something else. Another 10 joined a different business opportunity, and maybe there's some more that are actually there and still working. And those people can succeed, out of which only maybe 1 to 5 people are actually working their business, holding themselves accountable, and actually committed for long term. Maybe the rest wanted to just get rich quick. See, I believe in everyone, and you should believe in everyone too, because everyone has the ability to do great things, and I'm evidence of that. With all this understood, it's easy to see why the beliefs you have about your business and the people inside it are so important for you. See, what's funny is most of the time your beliefs, they're not true. Actually, I'm going to correct that. Your beliefs aren't true. They're a representation of a part of reality that you hold to be true as if that's the way that it is. However, there are billions of people and we all share different models of reality. I got a bug on my foot, so I'm going to be distracted for a second. And maybe I just did that to capture your attention in the video. The reality is you can change your beliefs through reframing them. You can change your beliefs by changing your energy. You can change your beliefs by learning something new. You could look at a group of 100 people and you could call something a scam if only a few of them made any money, or you could take a look at that and say, that's what people do when they say they're going to go to medical school. That's what people do when they say they're going to be a lawyer. They say they're going to do it and then they don't do it. You could say that's what people are going to do. That's what people do when they say they're going to be a black belt in karate. They go to a karate school and they quit before they're a black belt. That's what people do when they say I'm going to be a UFC fighter. They never train. So my point is with that is you can use any excuse to justify any belief you've already got that you want. But it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's useful. It doesn't mean it's going to empower you to step into your greatness. See, that'd be very easy to do. And also destructive to your chances of making it work, because you're just taking what you already think and justifying with facts rather than allowing the facts to work in your favor. Really thinking that we're right is complete bullshit. We're human beings. See, out of those people that you brought in, maybe only a handful of them are even trying. Maybe only a few of those are in there and saying, I'm going to make this work no matter what. Maybe there's a couple of them that are in there that will be rich if you just continue on. And the rest of them, in the process of seeing those people get rich, will also go out and say, it's my time, and they'll change. But because you gave up, you caused your own pattern of self-destruction. It's time that you believed in your people, your subscribers, your prospects. It's time. Reframe the lens in which you view each situation, and your belief will become constructive and empower your future. Today I've talked about how to become an effective marketer, but I wasn't talking about marketing. Because marketing is a process by which you accomplish a result that evolves with you over time. The reality is that if you want to market in a great way, you've got to become great and you've got to have great products. And if you want to change things, it starts by changing yourself, changing what you believe about yourself and making a decision on what you're going to do. Because if you're going to do it no matter what, there is nothing that will stop you. I read the other day, I was reading about Elon Musk. And then I watched some videos and I watched some interviews with him on YouTube. And I was fascinated as I saw a man who's wanted the same thing since he's in college and started a whole different payment system on the internet just to raise money to start the thing that he wanted to start in college, that he wanted to start when he was a teenager. He's had the same vision of changing the world in the same way his entire life. It's fascinating how people always get what they want, just like you. But what they really want and what they're really focused on is what they get, maybe not what they have as a fantasy inside their mind. So now I want you to change your fantasy by telling me what you learned in the comments and getting your bonuses that I'm going to give you today, my gifts to you to help you do that, which when you put your email in and you go to the next page, not only are you going to get the daily shortcut every day, you're also going to get a PDF workbook and an audio breakdown of today's episode. And you can take that and you can change your future. You can project yourself into a new future because your mind has the ability to change what's possible for you by believing different things are possible, because you do have an impact on the world around you by what you think inside. I know that, and I know you can do it. Right now, put your email in and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode of The Daily Shortcut. Tell me what you think in the comments and what you learned and what you want to master, and I will be here to help you step into a new life if you're ready. Go ahead and do it now.